What's going on, my good people? This your boy Lop Up the Entertainer, here to bring you some action between Morgan State University and South Carolina State University. This is going to be an interesting band battle. I haven't really been able to see them as much as I could have, but I'm just glad that I was able to get this footage and, bring it to y'all, okay? So, just to let y'all know, I grade all HBCU content, so if you're new to the channel, please consider liking and subscribing. It means so much to me, okay? So, they did not have a zero quarter, but they had halftime and a half-fifth quarter. But yeah, man, I think that this is going to be an interesting band battle between both of these bands. Can't wait to see what they're going to bring to us, okay? Let's see what we're going to grade, okay? So, what I will want to tell y'all too also, there's no favoritism involved. I've been grading all HBCU content. What these records go into, because I know you see South Carolina State has a record and Morgan State hasn't. It's my first time seeing them this season, and it's not going to be the only time, but I'm going to see them all, their whole season pretty much. That's on footage, So, that's my main thing, is for us to grade that as well, I wanted to let y'all know that as well. So, this will go into a tier list, okay? So with that tier list, it's going to help me determine where they stack up as far as who was the top band in that division, okay? Because some people want to know who was the top band in their division, and I want to give it to you raw and uncut, all right? So South Carolina State was one of the big dogs last year, but Morgan State was one of those bands that can put on a clinic on the field as well. So, again, I do not know what to expect from either band organization, okay? So, with that being said, look to the cards next to me so you know what we'll be grading. We're going to be grading entrance, songs, formation, dancers, breakdown, and overall creativity. Maximum points they can make altogether is 25. With that incentive is, creative. If they do something unique or death-defying on the field, they can not round up to possibly a 30, okay? So, it's pretty much on them as far as their creative points, okay? But my expectations, I'm expecting the dancers to look very clean. If their stunts come off well, that's good. I'm expecting songs, if they're stationary, to sound clean. Expecting the entrance to look clean. I'm expecting at least 3 breakdown features from the band, okay? At least 3 breakdown features from the band, all right? Formations, I'm looking for symmetry. I'm looking for 8 to 5. I'm looking for step-offs, okay? So if everything looks clean in that department, then good. But if it's missing a little bit of that, then it's going to hurt them. So, but those are my expectations, okay? So, I'm going to shut up. Let's get into the action. We're going to start off with Morgan State first, and then we're going to move ourselves to South Carolina State University. Let's go Morgan State. Let's see what y'all got.
Orangeburg, South Carolina. We know you missed the real bad on this field, so here we are. All the way from Baltimore, Maryland. At the home of the National Treasure, participating in the 2026 Tournament of Warriors Parade. We are the Morgan State University Magnificent Marching Machine. Killing for the legendary fancy music whose sound has transcended generations. Their iconic blend of soul, funk, R&B, and undeniable groove. They've ignited dance floors and success around the world. They are not just a band. They are a celebration. From the elements, earth, wind, and fire. Featuring our real essence flag line, we give you in the stone.
sounds very good too.
Alright. We're not going to do it for you long, but the machine, we're going to turn it up a little bit.
Give us a little scramble, huh?
Machine, show the people how we get down.
Okay.
Not too much, though, not too much. No matter where we go, the machine will show up and show out. Here we go. And then pull out that cell phone. We're going to give you a picture to take to tag us on Instagram. Multi-state bands with an S, not a Z. We ain't done yet. Give it up one more time for the magnificent marching machine.
That's not bad at all. Alright, let's get that a grade. Yeah.
Execution.
No complaints at all. No complaints at all. They didn't have a dance feature, unfortunately. So we're going to have to give them a dance feature exemption. Alright, they usually have their dancers do something, but they didn't have a dance feature today. So I guess they didn't bring their dancers, I guess, you know. But that's what we're going to do. We're going to give them an exemption. Same thing for South Carolina State University. So I will be looking out for the dancers too. I'll be grading it, but we're going to take the dancers out of it because we're going to give them an exemption as well. Okay? So entrance is a 5, songs is a 5, formations is a 5, exemption for the dancers, breakdowns a 5, creativity was a 5. So they end up getting a perfect 30. Okay, technically speaking, without the dancers, but technically speaking, it's a 25. So still good, still good. So they get some trophy emojis by their name because it looked very clean, looked very presentable for what I can see, looked very together, you know, very put together. So good job, Morgan State. I wouldn't expect nothing less from them. Hey, they're gonna be doing the Rose Bowl pretty soon, so hey, be looking out for them, man. They up there. They up there when it comes down to that field show stuff, man. So With that being said, if you've been rocking with your boy, please consider liking and subscribing. It means so much to me. We're finna get into South Carolina State University's field show. I went with this footage because I was able to see the field a little bit better. That's the only footage I can gather for Morgan State. So again, I'm just going off of what I can get. All right, but this seems like a cleaner version from what I can see for them. So let's get to it.
Ladies and gentlemen, what you have just seen is a test of Baltimore's emergency band system. But it doesn't matter what you've seen, because what you're about to see is called experience. Magnificent marching machine, you need to wake up. The dream is over, but your nightmare is about to begin. From the beautiful Garden City of Orangeburg, South Carolina, under the direction of Dr. J. William Nicholas and his entire band staff. Morgan State, you look good today, but we look good every day. It's showtime. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the Marching 101 of South Carolina State University.
Build a website you
Brace
love.
yourselves because the superstars of halftime are here. With a precision drill to music by one of the best to ever do it. When you hear his music, you only call his first name, Luther. 101. Maui Wowie in the bird. To all the youth, this dance routine is for you. Undisputed. Understand, we have the S on our chest. The Superman.
I feel like they just going through the motions. You know, they got some energy, but I feel like they're going through the motions too.
As the young kids will say, Morgan State about to get their BT raised. Just to make sure you know, this is the only band in the world where our goal is to transcend and conquer and speed it up just like this. On any band, any day, anytime, anywhere. Yes, Morgan State, that includes you. This concludes our youth day program.
Alrighty, let's get that a grade. Alright. Song entrance, I'm gonna give them a 5. Songs a 5. Formations a 5. Dancers, I give them an exemption. The dancers came in, but you didn't see them doing anything, so they still get an exemption. Breakdown, I'm giving them a 4. Creativity, I'm gonna give them a 5. So they got a 29. Alright? So almost a perfect for me. Okay? Only reason why I didn't give it a perfect field show rating was because I felt like some people in the breakdown was kind of going through the motions. It was like half of the band had the energy, half of the band did not. I feel like that's something that can be worked on. You know, you can't just go through the motions, and the band can receive that. Like, they had energy, like when they did, you know, their first song, but after that, you kind of lost your crowd because the hypeness disappeared within your band. You know, so people feel that energy when everybody's giving it at all, but if they're not, they're not going to receive it as much, you know. Now they had the hits and misses when it came down to energy, but I feel like, you know, consistently not everybody was together with that. So what's our current standings right now? Right now, ladies and gentlemen, Morgan State is up by 1 point. Count it, 1 point, ladies and gentlemen. All right, they up by 1. Okay, so with that being said, we're going to be moving into fifth quarter. This was a short fifth quarter, okay? A very, very short fifth quarter from what I can gather, all right? Look, it's literally 11 minutes and 49 seconds long, okay? So look, they're going to play one song, and we got look like they're giving us 3 rounds. 3 strong rounds from both of these bands, so we're going to see what they got. Alright, so before we get into that, I'll let you know I have a membership program. So with that membership program, it helps me, you get perks, rather. Let me rephrase that. You get perks, you get a chance to watch battles from 90s on up, you get a chance to request certain videos, you get to see drumline battles. I go into detail more about it in my video I posted above, so if you want to see what that looks like, please click on it. It's $2 a month. It's $2 a month. That's for me utilizing the proceeds for me to afford YouTube Premium. Also, if you want to not do the membership program but you still want to donate, you can hit that thank you tab below. It means so much to me. If you do that thank you tab, I will still give you a special thanks at the end of the video to showcase my appreciation. Okay, and again, all proceeds will go to YouTube Premium. Alright? What I would say before we get into the fifth, I'm not grading how strong an arrangement is. I'm grading the consistency and the cleanness of the sound. Okay? Okay, now, a lot of people get that confused, like, oh, well, this band had a stronger arrangement. What does that look like for me? To me personally, when it comes down to stuff like that, you got to remember that it's fair game. Okay? Remember that. It's fair game. It's no favoritism. Alright? So, with that being said, let's get into the action, alright? Please look to the cards next to me so you know we'll be grading. We'll be grading sound selection, power, articulation, arrangement, and overall cleanness. Maximum points they can make all together is 50, alright? Again, no favoritism. We're looking for how clean they execute the arrangement, okay? Just want to throw that out there. Alright, so we're going to start with Morgan State first, and we're going to get done. We're going to find out who won this battle. Okay? Okay. Tuba's going to be cleaner. Alright, let's get that a grade. Alright, so sound selection's 10, power, I'm going to give them an 8. Articulation's 10, arrangements 10, cleanness, I'm going to give them a 9. Alright, there's some stuff that needs to be worked on that. As far as that, I feel like with their size, they can project a little bit more. I'm glad that they play with dynamics. Don't get me wrong, it sounded clean when they was doing it, but I want them to project a little bit more than what they're giving me. Okay? I really want them to project just a tad bit more than what they're giving me. Alright? As far as the cleanness is concerned, I would want the tubas to come out just a tad bit better, and I think they would have been straight. Okay? So they got a 47 on that one. Alrighty, South Carolina State's next. Moving on.
Tides boosted for
Alrighty, let's get at a grade. Alrighty, almost a perfect. Almost a perfect. I just feel like there's some stuff that just needs to be worked on just a tad bit more. Just round off a couple edges, more so a little bit more with the high brass than anything. I feel like the high brass can be just a tad bit stronger, you know, as far as them getting their phrases out. Everything else was good for the majority, but just needing to work on the high brass just a little bit. But almost a perfect. Not bad at all. Moving on. Alright, Morgan, let's see what you got. Alrighty, let's get at a grade. Yeah! That's what's up right there. I gotta give him a pen for that one too. That's something on my hidden list I will give a band too. So that was real nice. That was real nice. No complaints on that at all. No true complaints at all on that. Very clean. Got the power. They brought their power out. I'm glad to finally hear it. But they finally brought their power out. But it was real good song for the majority. Alright. So, moving on. Alrighty. That's what I'm talking about. Yeah. That was good. That was real good. They brought that intensity. They brought that heat. They brought that heat, ladies and gentlemen. I ain't mad at them. That was nice. That was a good arrangement. Real good arrangement. Alrighty. Moving on. Look like this is going to be our last round, if I'm not mistaken. Alright, let's get that a grade. Alright, so there was some phrases that did not really get out like they need to. So song selections 10, Powers 10, articulation, I'm going to give them an 8. Arrangements 10, cleanness, I'm going to give them an 8. Alright, there's some stuff that needs to be sprucing up in that. It sounded good, but there's just some stuff that needs to be fixed overall. Okay? I just feel like, it's something that I feel like it can be very, very good. It has the potential to be good, but you have to really work on the small phrasing issues, etc. So it's phrasing. The runs was not as clean as it could have been, and just things like they were just kind of rushing through it, going through the emotions, with that. So moving on. Close us out. That's my shit. Alrighty, let's get that a grade. Yeah. That was nice. And they went Super Saiyan in this thing. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. And I gotta give them a pen for that one too. That's something on my hidden list as well. Man, I love that song. I'll be bumping that in the car sometimes going to work. Yeah, that's nice. That's real, real nice right there. That's a good way to close it too. That's a real good way to close it right there. That's nice. That's nice. Alrighty. So, who won this battle? Alright? Who won this battle? So, it had its twists and turns. Yes, it did. Alright? Definitely had its twists and turns, but we want to know who won the battle. Okay? So, this is my fair criticism. If you fast forward to the end, shame on you. Watch the battle, see what I said. Okay? I give both bands their accolades when it comes down to this battle. Okay? So, when we went to halftime, okay, the band was up by 1 point. Okay? Morgan was up by 1 point. Okay? 1 point difference. And they had a perfect field show in my eyes. Okay? They had a perfect field show. And, they did pretty good for the majority, when it came down to that. Now, when it came down to South Carolina State in fifth, that's a whole different ball game. Whole different ball game. So, I just think that, they had their moments definitely, but, it was not a close battle at all when it came down to that, So, I got to give them that. Got to give them that. So South Carolina State won this battle, ladies and gentlemen. They did. They beat them bad in fifth. Okay, was not a close battle in fifth. Okay, South Carolina State really handled their business in the fifth quarter, which graded them overall. Beat them in halftime. You know what I'm saying? So overall, South Carolina State won this battle. Now I gotta give Morgan this. They beat them in halftime. Yes, they did beat them in halftime, but it was not enough overall to beat South Carolina State. No. Okay? So, yes, South Carolina State won this battle by a landslide. All right? That fifth, South Carolina State was just stronger, you know. So, I got to give them that. So, yeah. So, but yeah, definitely, man. I really enjoyed this battle. You know, it was a very interesting battle to look at. Very interesting battle to look at. You know, I enjoyed every bit of it. You know, even though it was short-lived, I wish it could have been longer. You know, but definitely was an interesting, clean battle. Okay, for the majority. All right. So, with that being said, I want to give a special shout out to one of my channel members. If you want to be part of the channel member, be one of the channel members, please consider it. It means so much to me. You know, all proceeds will go into me donating to the channel as far as me affording YouTube Premium. So, you know, that definitely could be something for y'all to look into doing, you know, overall. Okay? So, with that being said, man, I'm finna get up out of here, man. Like I tell you always, deuces.